Today we are starting our unit on fractions. And a fraction is a number that shows part of a whole. So when you write a fraction, you have a number at the top, and then you have a line, and then you will have a number underneath the line. Okay? We need to know what these numbers are called. The number at the top is called the numerator. And the number at the bottom is called the denominator. Now, one way that you can kind of try to remember that is the denominator starts with a D, and it's the number that is down below the line. And the numerator has a U in it, and it's the number that is up above the line. So numerator is up because of that U, and denominator is down because of that D. Now, the numerator shows you a certain part of the whole. It might be the shaded part, it might be the part that's not shaded, it might be the part that was eaten or the part that was not eaten, but it shows some part of the whole. And your denominator tells you how many there are in the entire thing. How many pieces or parts is the whole divided into? Now, sometimes you might see a fraction written like this. You might see the fraction 1/3 written like that, with a slanted line in between the numerator and the denominator. I would like for you all to write it this way, where the line goes horizontal, straight across, instead of being slanted. It's just easier when you're first learning about fractions to write it this way. And the higher up in math you go, you might start to write it this way. But for now, do it this way. Now, I'm going to give you a shape, and I'm going to divide it into a certain number of pieces. And then I'm going to shade in a certain area. And now we're going to talk about what our fraction would be for this shape. Now, remember I have a numerator on top, a line in the middle, and a denominator at the bottom. The denominator is always the total number of parts. So, how many parts did I divide this square up into? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. 4 total parts. So 4 is my denominator. And then I may be asked what part of this figure is shaded. So I would count only the number of shaded pieces. There are 1, 2 shaded pieces. So that is my numerator. So I have a 2 as my numerator, and then my line, and a 4 is my denominator. So the way I would read this fraction is 2/4. Okay? Now, sometimes if you have a denominator of 4, it might be read as quarters. Kind of like there are 4 quarters in a dollar. Okay? So you could also read this fraction as 2/4 of the figure are shaded. Okay? Now let's try another example. I'm going to do a circle this time. divide that circle into equal pieces, okay, or somewhat equal pieces. And I'm going to shade in a certain number of them. Now, let's say for this one, I wanted to write a fraction for the area that was not shaded. So what I'm going to do is, my denominator is still going to tell me how many total pieces my figure is divided into. And it's divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 total pieces. So 8 is my denominator. And then this time my fraction is for the amount that is not shaded, so I'm going to count the pieces that are not shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 is going to be my numerator. So I would read this fraction as 5/8. Okay? Now, with fractions, you are dealing with shapes or figures that are divided into equal parts. So, for example, if you had this figure and that is what it looked like, and it was asking you for a fraction for it, you could not tell me a fraction for this shape because not all of its parts are equal. Okay, this piece right here is much larger than these other 4 pieces. Okay, so we can't do a fraction for that. We need all of our pieces to be equal, or as close to equal as we can get them. All right, I'm going to do one last example. I'm going to draw a figure for you, and I'm going to discuss with you what the fraction would be for the shaded part as well as the not shaded part. A little more equal. All right, so let's first do a fraction for my shaded area. All right, my denominator is going to be how many pieces I have all together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is divided into 8 pieces. And then the shaded pieces, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my numerator would be 5. So the fraction for the shaded area of this is 5/8. All right. Now, a fraction for the not shaded area. Okay. Again, it's the same figure, so I have the same number of total pieces. There are still 8 in the entire thing, so that is my denominator. Now I count the ones that are not shaded, and I have 1, 2, 3. So 3 is my numerator. So I would read that fraction as 3/8.